When I was about 18 years old and I was first going to college, I heard Rush Limbaugh on the radio, and he said that liberals just wanted to silence people who oppose them. They're not really interested in rational discussion. And I didn't really reject it, but at the same time, I kind of questioned it, because I thought, is it really, the liberals really like that? They really just not want to argue and they just want to silence people? Well, I don't think that's how all liberals are, but clearly there are some that are like that. And we have one of them running for president on the Democratic Party. His name is Robert Francis, also known as Beto O Rourke. And he changed his name to Beto so he could sound more Hispanic. Because, if you're a white dude or a white girl, and you need a little bit of help with getting that prestigious professorship or a political position, it really helps to get people to think that you're a minority race. So much for white privilege, right? So I saw a article that had a video in it where Beto O Rourke said that he was for taking away nonprofit status from churches that do not accept LGBTQ rights. Here's a clip.
This is from your LGBTQ plan, and here's what you write. This is a quote. Freedom of religion is a fundamental right, but it should not be used to discriminate. Do you think religious institutions like colleges, churches, charities, should they lose their tax-exempt status if they oppose same-sex marriage?
Yes. There can be no reward, no benefit, no tax break for anyone or any institution, any organization in America that denies the full human rights and the full civil rights of every single one of us. And so as president, we're going to make that a priority, and we are going to stop those who are infringing upon the human rights of our fellow Americans.
Congressman, thank you.
Now, concerning churches giving up their nonprofit status in order to voice their position of traditional marriage, I hope that churches will stand up for traditional marriage if this ever happens, and there's a chance that might happen one day. As for me, I feel very strongly about traditional marriage. I would die. I would die for that belief if it came down to it, because I'm not going to advocate profaning my God and His moral standard. I would rather die than have to do that. So I am dogmatically, I don't care if I get penalized on YouTube. I don't care if I get penalized on search engines. I don't care if I get penalized on Facebook. I will never, ever, ever, ever endorse homosexual marriage. I will never, ever endorse it. I want to make that very clear. And I hope all of you feel the same way. There's a lot of us in this country. And unfortunately, a lot of believers have been apathetic. And they've been allowing the liberals, the radical liberals, to win one battle after another. It's like a game of tug of war. And you notice that over the past couple of decades, the country's been moving farther and farther to the left. There's been some occasional rightward shifts, but by and large, over time, we've been moving left. And we could have stopped it. We had the people to stop, and we still do. Look at Chick-fil-A. Man, people boycotted Chick-fil-A because they came out in position and supported traditional marriage, and they're more profitable than they were before they came out. In-N-Out Burger also does very well, and they stand for traditional Christian values. So we have the people to stop this nonsense. These people that are far, far left are a minority. And then the rest of the people that are voting along with them are just apathetic, and they just don't know much about what's going on. They hear a few things here and there, and they're pragmatists. They decide to go with them because of free stuff and all that. This isn't really a hard enemy to slay, so to speak. This is this ideology. Not to mention, if with secular values, there's not really there's not really a foundation for moral values. So the idea that our rejection of homosexuality is immoral, frankly, is without basis according to their own worldview. But again, they're pragmatists. And I heard Rush Limbaugh say that these radical liberals don't want to argue, and he's right. I've dealt with them. You could reason with them all you want, but they don't care. They just want their way, and they'll give any excuse they can to try and appear like they're able to rationally maintain their position when in fact they cannot. Now, I'm not going to rail against Beto O Rourke. I will say that I'm glad he doesn't have a chance to win the Democratic election. Honestly, he's been doing terrible since he started. His poll numbers have only gone one direction, and I look forward to the day that he drops out of the race. I'm sure he'll run again, but I don't see a very bright political future for him, at least as far as getting into the executive branch is concerned. Perhaps one day he could become a senator or a representative or something in the House or the Senate, but I don't see him as much as anyone that would ever be able to seize the presidency. But I guess time will tell if that's true or not. And I'd like to speak to Beto O Rourke, what he said concerning the infringing upon of human rights. Well, last time I checked, Beto O Rourke supported Planned Parenthood and supports abortion, and there's not really a more atrocious human rights position you can hold than that. Secondly, concerning the infringing upon human rights, he talks about how churches don't support gay marriage that should not have tax breaks. Well, to that I say that it's just as much an infringement on the human right by his logic to tell people they cannot be honest with who they are. Because really, that's what it comes down to, isn't it? Is the homosexual marriage advocates say, well, you're not letting them be honest with who they are. Well, whenever you're trying to coerce someone into professing something they don't believe, then you're doing the same thing to them. So pot, meat, kettle. But we need to be we just need to understand that some of these people that are on the far left are really for things like this. That the notion of Christian persecution in the United States is a very real one. I happen to believe that there will be a revival in the United States. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. Sometimes revivals come under persecution. So this revival, I don't know if it's going to, if a revival will get the believers back into total power again over the media and everything else that's driving the narratives these days, or if it's going to be the type of revival where our faith is becoming stronger and becoming more outspoken and more miracles are happening under prosecution. Like what happened in the first century church. In the first century, they were under Roman prosecution, and there were miracles, there were signs, there were wonders, and there was a preaching of the gospel, and even Rome got overtaken by the message of the gospel. But either way, we need to understand there are people out there that really want to do harm to us. And Beto O Rourke is one of those people. And I am glad that he is not going to have a chance of winning the Democratic nomination. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and God bless.